we have to be friendly with the teenagers, as well as we have to be a little strict to mold them, give something to think rather than giving a homework. To err is human, and to forgive is divine.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles. I am Seema Choria. I bring to you another insightful episode on Great Principles. Joining me today on Great Principle is an educator who hails from a family of teachers. As the saying goes, charity begins at home. So does nobility. Inspired and motivated by his father and uncle and many of his relatives who belong to teaching fraternity. Dr. Roy Samuel. He is principal of G.H. Raisoni Junior College, Nagpur, made teaching his dream vocation, and here he is today sharing his thoughts, ideologies, and journey with us. Welcome to Great Principles, sir. It's an honor to have you on our show.
Thank you, Seema, and it is a great honor for me to appear in the platform of Great Principle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure today my viewers are going to gain a lot of insights and we get inspired through your journey as you once upon a time get inspired from your family and chose this noble profession. So, sir, the dream that you had once upon a time has come to fruition today. Today, you're a leading educator and your journey is very, very inspiring. What inspired you to be a teacher and why did you choose this vocation?
Okay, that is a very good question. And to have an answer for that, I have to explain a long journey which I started from the simple beginning of a village boy in the remote village of Kerala. I was staying. I was born to an agricultural family, but my father he was office superintendent in a senior college, and my uncle, father's younger brother, he was a teacher. His wife became a teacher, and my elder brother became a teacher, his wife, and then eldest brother's wife, and lot of family members, they became teachers and came into the teacher's profession. So looking at them, somewhere I had a note for becoming a teacher, which is a noble profession where you get a lot of respect, and moreover, you can do and do a lot of things for the people, as well as you can motivate many people to different professions. So from that simple beginning, I started my primary education in a village school, which is actually 3 kilometers away from my home. So with friends and my own brothers, I used to walk 3 kilometers to the school and come back by walking 3 kilometers. And from there, and it was a regional language school. And from there, again, after my high school, actually in the high school in 8, 9, 10, we have certain occasions, just like Teachers' Day. And during Teachers' Day, my teachers asked me to have the part of a self-government and to be an English teacher in the same class. So I was actually very upset how to teach, how to appear in front of my colleagues and teach the English subject. But after my preparation, I did well. And the English teacher, Dr. A.S. Balakrishnan, he actually prompted me, he instigated me, he motivated me that you can be a good teacher. So that struck to my heart. And from there, my journey began with an ambition to become a teacher.
Wonderful, sir. And I think education is the best gift that can be given to any education, to any nation, because when you educate people, ultimately the country flourishes. And that is the most noble thing to do. So the humble beginnings and now into a noble profession. Truly an incredible journey, sir. And we hope that you keep on growing, keep on educating minds and shaping lives. Going ahead in our conversation, sir, you are heading a junior college where students are, bullied and impressionable age under peer pressure also. There is a lot of peer pressure competition. So along with you, your teachers also need to be equipped and deal effectively with these terms as educators. So tell me, sir, which is the most effective approach in mentoring adolescents?
Okay, so that is a very good question, as well as it is a difficult question, because the main problem which the teenage students are facing is peer pressure. So one thing I have ever noticed in my long 32 years of service, parents come to me as a principal or when I was a teacher and tells that, sir, uh, my child, my children, they don't listen to me. Please advise. So this is the fact even now. As I became a principal also, when parents come to me and tell, sir, please advise, he is not listening to me, she is not listening to me, and they don't talk to me. So this is a big problem which we are facing now at this modern age, or age of gadgets, where they get a lot of things from the electronic instruments. They don't listen to their parents. They go with the advice of their friends and their age groups, peer pressure. But as a fact, we know that good things are difficult to learn and bad things are easy to learn. This problem is faced by my teachers as well as by me. But now, how we are facing these problems in an effective way or an amicable way? As I have done my psychology in education and my PhD in education, I always advise my teachers to be to keep a mediocre way with the teenage students. Why the mediocre way? You cannot be aggressive. You cannot punish the teenage students. Once you punish, they will be aggressive. If you are angry, they will be more, what is it called? They will show more aggression in different way, psychological effects. They may not drop their studies and they will go into the bad company, bad effects, such a lot of things, a lot of side effects can be taken place in that. So be friendly with them, give them proper advice, and then take them into our confidence and appreciate them, be with them, show empathy. All this technique can be used with the teenagers. At the same time, you have to be little strict also. Otherwise, they will not listen to you. That is the thing which now we have to do the mediocre way. Be friendly with them. At the same time, be strict with them. In English, the proverb is that spare the rod and spoil the child. But now you cannot use that proverb to the teenagers at this age, because we have to be friendly with them, at the same time be strict with them. Then only we can develop them or mold them. I may advise to my friendly teachers and to the people, those who are educationists linked with the students, that catch them young. When they are young, advise them in a proper way and be with them, give them proper care, and then only they can be lead into a proper way. Otherwise, peer pressure is such a thing which we cannot control, because at this age, children never obey their parents or elders, though we have more moral studies, value education included in our curriculum. When I was a student, There was no moral education or value education in my syllabus. But as a joint family or with the society, we get all the moral behavior, pattern, respect, manners, etiquette, everything from our family or the society. But with the nuclear family, children find their own peace or their equity with their friends, but the friends influence them more than this nuclear family of parents and their brother and sisters. So my conclusion is that we have to be friendly with the teenagers, as well as we have to be little strict to mold them as per our need, or to have a good citizen of our society.
Wonderfully explained, sir. I really love the point where you mentioned that, start early. At a young age, try to be, mold them, make them
Yes,
realize what is right, what is wrong. That is the time when you can mold them. Once they are teenagers and when they enter that age, that is, a very dicey age where a child is confused. Where what
correct.
should I choose? And it's very easy for them to pick up the bad things, bad habits. So we as parents, as educators, have a huge responsibility to vouch for them, to mentor them, to guide them, and at the right time pull them back. You know,
Correct.
show them the right path. So yes, it is a little difficult, but as you said, by having a balanced approach of strictness and friendliness with little freedom and with being friendly with them, we can make this happen. And you rightly mentioned, sir, given the societal framework these days, the nuclear family and the privacy, the space sort of thing, these things has given more, heat to this kind of behaviors in children.
Correct. Yes, yes, true.
Certainly, sir. So wonderfully explained, sir. Moving ahead in our conversation, sir. So you have long list of achievements, and that is awe-inspiring. There are physical awards for your efforts and dedication. So I would like to know from you one recognition which holds an emotional place in your heart.
Okay. So that is also very great. Actually, as you have mentioned, I have received a lot of achievements and fellowships and awards. But I consider APJ Abdul Kalam uh, Achievement Award for social work is the best thing which I keep to my heart. Why? Again, let me explain you a little background. As an educator, some 10 years back, I started my own NGO where I get some kind of motivation from the UNESCO and UN Social Council. And this social council prompts me to deal with the abandoned children, or the downtrodden women among the society. And with my NGO, I give free education for them whenever I get time in my office, so that these children, these abandoned children, these downtrodden children, they get a chance to come to the mainstream of the society. So, considering my social work apart from the teaching job, the UN Social Council has recognized me with an APJ Abdul Kalam Achievement Award in 2020. So this I keep because this I keep very much in my heart, because it gave me again a promotion that I should do again and again such kind of social work. Those awards which I got earlier, they have prompted me or recognized me my works. But here, the difference is that they have recognized my work, which I am doing without any profit, without any salary or such kind of financial benefit. The thing which I did and I was recognized by this award gave me a prompt to do something more for the society. So I consider the social work which I am doing, and I still continue with my NGO, which is called ARSA. ARSA in Hindi is actually just like helping, shelter.
Yeah.
So this NGO helps the poor children, giving them free tuition whenever they come to us or we go to them in and around my place. Keeps me alive and in touch with the poor children, with the downtrodden children who are in need of it. Where in the regular formal school, we teach the children where the children, they are either forced by the parents or they come. But here, there is no force. My children or my NGO, which is doing this service, is free of cost, and the children come to us free, thinking that we get something. And even in my classroom, I tell my teachers that you should have a philosophy of teaching 40 minutes or 35 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever period. When you go out of the classroom, give something to think rather than giving a homework. Then many people ask me, sir, homework is necessary or not? Why you are telling that give something to think? If you are able to motivate the children, if you are forcing the children to think, then you are going to create them an innovative child or innovative student. So my aim for my advice for the teachers also, I tell them always when I conduct my workshops and all, give them something to think when they go out of the classroom. That is it.
Great thought, sir. Great thought. Giving back is the greatest joy one can ever feel. And we all think, that if you're looking out to help needy, if you're looking out to do some charity, then you educate them. Because when you educate a child, you educate a generation. So you're doing a very humble work, sir, a very, noble work you're doing. When you're educating these children, you are helping them to secure their future and for the future of the generation which is going to follow them. So this is the best thing to do. And I'm very glad, I'm very happy. I want to congratulate you for the APJ Abdul Kalam award that you have received. It certainly motivates that, that what you're doing is great, and keep on doing the great work and keep motivating and inspiring others to do. So, sir, congratulations on your great work.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Another thought that you expressed, give the homework where a child starts thinking. That is, another very beautiful example of igniting the cognitive skills, the thinking skills, the creative skills of the child. So this is something, which should be practiced all over, I suppose. So wonderful, sir. Great work you're doing, sir. Maybe we wish you all the success in your work.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So going ahead in our conversation, sir, there is nothing which we can do without a team, without the support and without inspiration. So I would like to know the person, the educationist you look up for advice and support.
Okay. So this is again, I have a lot of advisors and my colleagues I contact whenever I am in need, because see, nobody is perfect, and to err is human and to forgive is divine. So whenever I feel any doubt in my educational career or any field, I contact my friends and colleagues who are available. But I want to mention my friend and mentor, one Mr. Raju Khade. He is a good friend, my colleague, as well as a very sincere, honest man by profession, a junior lecturer, and he is always there for me to give an advice in the matters of teaching, how to deal with the children, as well as how the examination, paper evaluation, tabulation, everything. If I don't know anything about paper evaluation or question pattern and the blueprint, he used to help me. So our friendship became something which is connected to our hearts. So he also does the same thing. Whenever he feels in any doubt, he comes to me. So almost near about my profession started in the year 1989. That means almost 32 years I have completed in the teaching field. Since 25 years, we were together, having our doubts cleared each other and moving on. And still, it is continuing as our helping each other, our mentoring each other makes us happy, as well as we can give something good for the society through their mutual helping. So I name Mr. Raju Khade my best friend for helping me, and remember him with thanks and congratulating him for all these 24 years, long 24 years, being together with me in motivating me.
Great, sir. To have a friend who has been there, you know, holding your hands and always with you for such a long tenure is truly a blessing. And I'm really happy that you have someone where when you're looking for some advice, you don't need to Google it. You have a real person, real human who can understand you socially, emotionally, and then give you advice, As everyone, each one of us have a habit. We have stuck, all right, Google it. But Google doesn't know you emotionally. They don't know your circumstances. And that is where this friends, these mentor comes in place. So great, sir. We wish that you keep on having such brilliant people joining in your journey and guiding you, motivating you always.
Very true, very true. Yes, yes.
So going ahead in our conversation, we have reached to the very interesting segment of the show, which is called Rapid Fire Round. You have to answer in one word or a statement.
Okay.
So here goes the first question. You spend your recreational time indulging in activities like?
Reading.
Reading. All right. Tell us about a funny or a weird incident in your life.
Funny incident. Okay. See, the thing is that when I am being with my friends, and we are making fools of each other. What happened? It is just some last week one incident took place. I was with my friends, with my colleagues, and fooling each other and enjoying our Diwali holidays. So one of my friends that if I go to USA, I will meet the president of America. I said to him that okay, in that case, we also will come and meet the president of America. And then he immediately called somebody, and some person who is connected with a travel agency, and he was straight away asking him, "Bhaiya, USA का ticket हमारे लिए कल का book कर लो." So this was he knows that all the formalities, passport, visa, without that we cannot go to USA, and meeting the president of America is a difficult task. But still, to make us engage with and laugh around, he was immediately cracking the joke in front of us, telling that okay, book a ticket for us to USA. So that was little very funny actually.
So, such emotions, such incidents keep us ticking always, and such lighter moments are required in our regular monotonous routine at times to keep us going. So that is the reason that we put up this question, so understand that how you people have, like you have morning to evening, you're in the college sitting there. So, some funny moments are required here. So going ahead, name your last travel destination where you actually went, not over the phone, ticket was not booked.
Okay. Pondicherry. Last week I was in Pondicherry. Actually, I had a call. I fixed our interview when I was traveling to Pondicherry.
All right.
That was on 15th.
Okay, fine, great, sir. So, Tari Pohe or Sauji? I think it's called Sauji only. It's a Nagpur cuisine. So, which is your favorite?
My favorite is Sauji.
Sauji, all right. Writing is, complete this sentence. Writing is for you what?
Can you just repeat the question?
Writing, when you write, you are fond of writing. So writing for you is what?
Writing is a part of my hobby, because if you ask me what are my hobbies, reading and writing, I will tell you. So when I get some free time, I start reading some books. And writing is also a part of my hobby, but it needs little more thinking. Because if I write any poem also, it should be emotion recollected in tranquility as per Wordsworth. So writing is a part of my hobby.
All right. So a part of hobby, which is, an expression of thoughts, which is documented.
Exactly.
So your favorite genre in literature
Is APJ Abdul Kalam's The Ignited Minds.
all right. So wonderful book to read. It truly inspires and motivates all of us. So it was great.
And in fact, I advise all the teachers should read that, The Ignited Minds.
Certainly, they all should, and then they will resonate with the vision that Sir had. Because if there are no good teachers, then the future of the nation is at stake. So it's really a lot of things to count upon. So this brings to me to the last question of the show, which is called Viewer's Choice Question. So the question goes like this: once a teacher, always a teacher, and age is no criteria for learning. As teachers, we too need to relearn and unlearn and redundant matter and learn new skill to stay learned. What is your message and to your teachers and mentors out there?
Okay. So to answer that, let me tell you now, see, almost in the teachers fraternity, 90 to 95% are ladies. Only maybe 5% are gents. So the profession teaching is by choice or by chance? That is the biggest question which I consider. If you are a teacher by choice, well and good. Continue with that, motivate yourself, read yourself, enrich yourself, and face the children. But if you are a teacher by chance, for example, you did not get any job, and finally, because of the situation or surrounding, you became a teacher. Even if by chance also, if anybody becomes a teacher, at present you are a teacher, and be a perfect teacher. Try to become a perfect teacher. Nobody is perfect, but from wherever you are, you make a foundation and then become a perfect one. So for me, if you are a teacher by choice or chance, that doesn't make any difference. But at present, you are a teacher, and be perfect to that and do well. Be with the children, motivate the children, do something for the children, and be a motivator or a gardener for the children, and make them, enrich them, show them sympathy and empathy to become great human personalities. So for all my teachers, my appeal is that to keep simple living and humble living and high thinking. Simple living and high thinking. So if you are having a simple beginning, or if you have started to become a teacher by choice or by chance, your beginning is simple, but your thinking should be high, which should be fruitful, which should be useful, which should be beneficial for the students and ultimately for the community.
Wonderful, sir. A very beautiful message. Innocent eyes, curious mind, and beautiful hearts. They look up to you for everything. You are, inspiring them, guiding them, and their future lies in your hand. So, for being a teacher is a huge responsibility. You are the one to whom the parents have, assigned their greatest assets of their life. The biggest asset of their life is assigned to you. So the onus, the responsibility that you have is huge. So sir rightly said, either by choice or chance. Once you're a teacher, try to be at your best. That is where I will sum this up. So wonderful, sir. It was, a very insightful session. I truly enjoyed each and every answer given by you. So schooling a teenager is hard, but being a teenager is hard too, which is why our children need someone to trust, to lean on, to come for advice and share their lives for good, bad, and the ugly phases. Besides parent, these roles is aptly being taken over by the teachers and mentors out there too. And today, sir gave us a lot of insights, lot of advices on how to mentor these teenagers, how to guide them. Thank you so much, sir. It was an honor to have you, and we are very grateful for you to giving us an opportunity to have an interaction with you.
Thank you very much for all of you. and the great team of great principals. I appreciate your effort, and thank you very much for me giving a platform in your wonderful Great Principals Forum. Thank you very much.